When you think of Tesla, you think of electric cars, right? Well, the company just announced that its future isn't really about cars at all. In their brand new Master Plan Part 4, they're making a massive multi-trillion-dollar bet on robots.
So, what happened? Well, back in September 2025, they dropped this new roadmap and, wow, it signaled one of the biggest pivots in the company's entire history. This isn't just some minor update. It's a complete reimagining of what Tesla even is.
And this quote from the plan really says it all. The new goal is sustainable abundance, a world where AI and robotics basically solve the problem of scarcity. Think about that. It's a shift from just building stuff to building the things that build all the other stuff.
But as you can imagine, this huge ambition was met with a ton of skepticism. So the big question we're digging into today is this. Is Master Plan 4 a legit blueprint for a new technological age, or, as some critics have put it, is it just utopic nonsense?
All right, so to figure that out, let's actually dig into the plan itself. What exactly is this vision for an AI-powered world of abundance?
Okay, so the plan is really built on a few core ideas. The main theme is using what they call constraint-busting innovation to get growth without limits, to solve real-world problems, and to make sure everyone benefits from autonomy. In other words, using tech to beat scarcity for everybody.
And right at the center of this whole new vision, it's not a car. It's kind of like a person-shaped robot. Let's talk about Optimus, the new star of Tesla's entire future.
And honestly, the scale of this bet is just mind-blowing. Elon Musk himself predicts that a whopping 4/5 of Tesla's future value, we're talking trillions of dollars here, is going to come from this one robot. This is a complete recentering of the entire company. And we're not talking about just a handful of these things. No, the goal is to be cranking out 1 million Optimus units every single year by 2029. To put that in perspective, that's an industrial scale that the entire humanoid robot industry has never even dreamed of.
So how do you even get to a scale like that?
Well, you have to make it affordable. The target price? Just $20,000. That's cheaper than most new cars. And get this, in a lot of places, it's less than what you'd pay a minimum wage worker for a year.
Okay, so let's put this all together. You take that massive scale, you take that super accessible price point, and you get to this number. Musk thinks if Tesla's total value hits, say, $25 trillion, the Optimus business, by itself, could be worth $20 trillion of that. I mean, that's a number so big it's almost hard to wrap your head around.
And the timeline to make all this happen? It's incredibly aggressive. The plan is to have 3 working prototypes by the end of 2025 and then, get this, start mass production the very next year. This all leads up to that goal of 1 million robots a year by 2029. The pace is just wild.
Okay, so that's the big shiny vision. But this plan didn't land in a vacuum. It landed in a pretty harsh reality. So let's take a look at the serious hurdles and the really intense criticism this plan is up against.
Because while Tesla's out here talking about a $20 trillion future, its present, it's looking pretty tough. In the first quarter of 2025, the company's net income dropped by a staggering 71% year over year. That really shows you the huge gap between the long-term dream and the short-term reality. And yeah, the analysts, they have not been kind. The plan got hammered for not having specific, measurable goals. Some people just brushed it off as vague AI promises, and one critic even called it LLM-generated nonsense, basically saying it sounds like a chatbot wrote it.
And you can see this gap between promise and reality most clearly with the Optimus robot itself. The vision, right, is a totally autonomous robot. But the reality? So far, a lot of the demos we've seen are actually being secretly controlled by a person off-screen. It's a technique called teleoperation. Meanwhile, the actual prototypes are reportedly struggling with pretty basic stuff like overheating and battery life. And remember, all of this is happening while Tesla's main business, the car business, is feeling the pressure. Their profit margins on cars have been sliced in half, from over 30% down to 15%, and EV sales are down pretty much everywhere. So the company's making this massive, risky pivot at a time when its main cash cow is already struggling.
Now, to be fair, making crazy, bold promises is kind of Tesla's thing, right? So to really get a handle on Master Plan 4, we got to look back at their track record. How have they delivered on these big visions in the past?
And what you find is, it's a mixed bag. The original master plan from 2006, that was a grand slam. They delivered the Roadster, the Model S, the Model 3. Boom, boom, boom. But Part 2 from 2016, that was only partially fulfilled. Remember the big promises about the solar roof? It never really happened at scale. So it's a history of both incredible success and, well, not quite living up to the hype.
So all of this brings us right back to where we started. How do we balance this incredible potential against all of these very real problems? Is this whole thing a visionary leap of faith, or is it just a desperate gamble? So, after hearing both sides of the story, what are we supposed to believe? Is this the future unfolding before our eyes? Or is it maybe just a really elaborate distraction from the problems they're facing right now?
Let's just put the two stories side by side one more time. On one hand, you've got this potential humanoid robot market that could be worth almost $5 trillion by 2050. And hey, Tesla has the AI experience and the manufacturing chops to totally own it. But then on the other hand, you've got a plan that's super vague, a company under serious financial pressure, and massive technical challenges that, frankly, nobody has solved yet.
At the end of the day, I think the key insight is this. Master Plan 4 is really the product of two powerful competing forces. You've got that immense, world-changing ambition that has always been Tesla's DNA. But you've also got a direct reaction to the mounting pressure on its car business, which is struggling. So it's both a push toward an amazing new future and a pivot away from a really tough present.
And so that leaves us with the final multi-trillion-dollar question. Does this master plan represent the kind of visionary leadership that's going to kickstart a whole new technological renaissance, changing our economy and our lives forever? Or is it a fantastically ambitious but maybe desperate attempt to write a new story because the old one is starting to run into trouble? The answer to that is going to define not just the future of Tesla, but maybe the future of everything else too.